There we go.
There we go.
Got it. Well, everyone, good morning. And thanks for joining. I'm looking forward to this great conversation with these two great leaders, Ken and James. I've been looking forward to this for a while since we chatted about it. I'm Bob Henderson, CEO of Intelligence Services Group, and I've known Ken and James for a number of years, involved with their chapters. And as I said, I've always been impressed with your leadership and what their chapters are doing for the community. And I thought it'd be a good idea to just have a conversation. Let them tell us some more about them, their chapters, and the great things they're doing, and educate some people, especially those looking to get into cybersecurity, and how important it is to get involved in organizations like ISC Squared, especially these two chapters. I think they're at the forefront of the new mission for what I think ISC Squared ought to be and what they're doing in the community. So I thought it'd be just a great conversation. It is recorded. And just so you know, my company will, at the end of this, we will pick one individual for a free year membership in the New Jersey chapter and one individual for free 1 year membership in the Central Florida chapter. So, and we'll pay for that. So that's why I was asking everybody what state you're from. And I know Ken doesn't care where you're from. You can join the and I'm not sure about, I don't think James does either. Doesn't really matter, but we'll go through it at the end of this, and we'll notify you based on the email that you used to register who won that membership. But again, one membership in New Jersey chapter for a year, one membership in the Florida chapter for a year. So you have no excuses for not joining those chapters. And with that, I'm going to let Ken and James introduce themselves.
Cool. All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and certainly welcome. Real excited, and thanks to Bob for putting this together, teaming up Ken and I to kind of chat about this. So my name is James McQuiggan. I'm the chapter president for the ISC Squared Central Florida chapter. Here in the heart of all the theme parks in Central Florida. By day, I'm a security awareness advocate. I work for KnowBe4. For me, it's the dream job of being able to go around and talk about cybersecurity, and that kind of carries over in with chapter president, doing the chapter meetings with everybody, getting everybody connected and educated. And certainly I'm in my, I'm 6-7 years in as chapter president, and having a lot of fun doing it, and got a great team down here in Central Florida. So throw it over to you, Ken.
Thanks, James. And thanks again for hosting, Bob. This is great. So I am, I'm going on my 3rd year as president right now. My day job is I am in charge of security for a law firm, a national law firm. And for many years, I was a consultant for like 20 years, and I never had time to do anything like this. So I am very pleased that now I have the flexibility to do something completely different with my career. So that's me in a nutshell.
Great. We guys, both of you mentioned a little bit about your journey that got you to this point in your career. I'm curious, why ISC Squared? There are plenty of organizations out there, but why ISC Squared?
For me, when I was I spent 18 years working for a little German company called Siemens. And in that time, one of the opportunities that came along was my director of corporate security and our product security officer coming to me going with what I was doing with network security, connecting power plants to our DMZ and all that network security. They came to me and said, you should get your CISSP. You really like cybersecurity, consider getting that certification. And I said, oh, okay, all right. And I looked at other certifications, and I had my bachelor's degree, and, continuing that education and looking at getting that certification was probably one of the harder things I ever studied for. And for me, I failed it the first time, and I have no problem sharing it with people, because I learned what came out of that was an opportunity to help other people to learn as well. I did the boot camp, and on the second time around, I realized that I had a lot more fun helping people understand the concepts. And then when I got my CISSP, it was a couple of years later that they had the first ISC Squared Security Congress. and going to that and meeting the awesome folks at ISC Squared, like Jada, who's on the call, but meeting them and getting to know them, it was kind of almost like a second family for me. And I tried to get involved with our local chapter here, but things didn't work out. So I went ISSA for a while, running their the Central Florida chapter. And eventually the opportunity came open for the ISC Squared Central Florida chapter. They needed a new president. So I stepped in. I stepped up, got nominated, got elected. And for me, ISC Squared helped change my career. It changed my life for the better in that sense with that certification. Granted, while it was all me, having that brand of ISC Squared and what the name carried helped me out a lot, and to where I am. Plus going to Congress, meeting people, meeting lots of people, some of those becoming very good friends, and some of them helping me get my position, get me in the door at NobleFor. So you never know who you're going to meet one day that's going to help you in your career down the line. So for me, it's ISC Squared. It's like a family. You have your good days and you have your bad days. More good than bad, I can say, which is good overall. But yeah, so for me, ISC Squared is like that second family.
Cool. That's great. Ken, what about you?
Completely different story. So I got my CISSP back in 2005. Didn't know what to do with it, really. I was still a network engineer consultant. I just kept it up, never went to any meetings, didn't know anything about chapter meetings at all. And I almost let it lapse because I wasn't really using it. And then I got into cybersecurity about 6 years ago, I'll say. And then I started to obviously to use the what I learned more. And about 4 or 5 years ago, 2018, 2019, I went to one ISC Squared meeting. And I was never able to make them because they were like at 6 o'clock at night. And that's when I start thinking about leaving my job usually. And in New Jersey, getting anywhere at 6 o'clock is impossible. So I went to one meeting. I hit it off with the president. She called me up one time and said, I know you're a consultant. Can you give a presentation? Somebody bailed on us. So I went and gave a presentation. The next thing I know, she's like, I want you to be on the chair position for our holiday party to give awards to. So I did that. And then COVID hit. And several months later, out of the blue, she said, do you want to be president? I'm stepping down. And it was a really weird thing. I just was starting this new job. I was done with consulting. And I didn't know anything about the chapter at all. I didn't know, I knew like one person in it. And I said, sure, I'll try something new, something different. And yeah, and it completely changed my life because I never ran an organization like this before. I didn't know anything about anybody. I followed James. I sat in on a few of his meetings because I didn't even know how to run one of these meetings. And now it's like, I can't even like imagine my life, what it was and what it is now. It's completely changed for the better. And I'm very happy with how things are going. And I created a family also. We went from 30 members to 430 members within less than 3 years now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the message I take away from that, both of your stories, is the value and the return on investment and the need to do relationship building. And you got to find your cohort, right, where you can do that. And it's so refreshing to hear that. I think a lot of people do a lot of mentoring, you both do, and we always come up with that question: how do we get into cyber? I always thought you got to build relationships, you got to build a network. And for me, one of the best, and I always tell people, and I think Leanne was on here, I told her this too, is go join ISC Squared. You have to join ISC Squared. To me, it's especially these two organizations and the leaders, Ken and James. You're not going to find anyone better to help you on that journey.
No.
So, Let me ask you a little bit. You obviously don't do this by yourselves. You don't run the chapter by yourselves. So tell me a little bit about your team at the chapters and kind of what they do and their roles. So people, I think, get a better understanding that it's not just you two guys. There's a lot more people involved.
I'll let you start this one, Ken.
Okay, sure. So when I started out, we had the typical treasurer, membership, president and secretary positions, and I saw that that wasn't enough, and I saw that and luckily, you know, one of the nice things about being an ISC squared compared to now I know about a lot of different other organizations, a lot of them are very structured and they can only do things a certain way. And with ISC squared, I was able to kind of do what I wanted, I'll say. So I would find people that were competent, that were eager, and I would just put them on the board and I would just make up positions. So we have a communications chair now who's in charge of the newsletter that we put out and Discord server. And now we also have a mentorship committee chair because I was doing that and I couldn't handle that. So now there's 2 people doing that. And it's been really wonderful. And as I see things come up, I'm like, okay, we need more work to do that. So like we have a membership person, but they're not doing anything with the membership. I'm doing most of that. And they were helping set up the Gather Town. We have a virtual platform where we do some of our meetings, and I'll talk about that later, but and we also needed website help. So I found somebody who was technical who could run with that kind of stuff. So it was less about what positions we needed, and I mean, less about the actual positions that were traditional and really figuring out what the chapter needed to grow.
Yeah, echoing what Ken's saying, and I'm of a very similar path. Both Ken and I, we're kind of the people that's like, okay, I'm going to carry this, I'm going to start this, and then I'm going to pass it off to someone. The mindset of I'm not going to ask you to do something that I wouldn't do otherwise. And so, you know, I was doing a lot of the communications, sending out prepping the emails and getting them out. Now we have a communications person. For me, when I took over chapter president in 2017, I had a membership person and I had a vice president, and then I brought in a chapter secretary. And that first year was the struggle. And I know Ken kind of went through the same thing, just trying to get meetings going and getting people engaged that would want to be on the board. And it was a struggle. And so for that first year, did a lot of this stuff on my own. But now, once you've got people engaged, and then you can tap them on the shoulder going, hey, I need somebody to do X, Y, Z. And then they come on board. And that's how it worked with me. When I started having more people, then they were coming to me going, hey, I'd love to help out. And that's how Walter came on board and Debbie came on board, the vice president and chapter secretary. And it was interesting because when I needed a vice president, I had multiple people step up, and it's like, oh, shoot, now what do? So it was a matter of election. And then I had this other person that was still engaged. I'm like, look, you didn't get vice president, but I would love to have you as membership. No problem. That's how I got Christopher. So like Ken, it's a matter of, yeah, you sometimes got to carry the load for a little bit, but then once you get that engagement and the people on board, then offload the work and get it. So that way you're not burning yourself out, so that you can engage the other folks and get their support.
Well, I have a question from Sarah Fuller, and Ken, I'm going to have you answer this first. She wants to know, what kind of topics do you discuss in the meetings, and what does your meeting schedule look like? How often do you meet?
So we meet every month from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And so the format is usually we have 2 speakers and we do a break in the middle where we do breakout rooms, and I throw random people together, about 5 or 6 people, and I come up with an icebreaker topic, and they talk for about 10-15 minutes in the middle. So that's really the format. Now, as far as topics are concerned, they are across the board. We have anything and everything, and that's what makes it wonderful. And the two topics are completely different usually. Like last week, we had a meeting, and it was on ChatGPT. We had a demo. Somebody gave a demo about ChatGPT, and we had somebody who was a pen tester talking about the latest threats that are going on. But we've had people talk about soft skills like conflict resolution and becoming an entrepreneur. And we've also had people talk, really in depth about a variety of different topics. It's just, we've had lawyers on, we've had all different, just all different types of speakers, and the more varied, the more I like it. And that's all I could say. It's just, we don't try to just be technical or GRC or any of those topics. I want everybody to understand what cybersecurity is from all different aspects.
Great.
Yeah, because that's what we're doing, is looking to educate the membership along with the networking aspect. And like Ken, our chapter meetings, we vary all different variety of topics, different walks of life. Whether we're talking about OSINT, we're talking about cloud, professional development as well. One of the things that I did last year, and I think Ken does it as well, is we do a membership survey and figure out what topics. And then I did it like an AMA at one of our meetings last year, where I said, all right, ask me anything. What is it you want in the meetings? And several people voiced an idea of, what if we could have, one presentation where we're learning about particular tools, open source tools or commercial tools that are used in the industry in cybersecurity. So now what we've done with our meetings this year so far is the first presentation is going over either a suite of tools or a style of tool. So we've done OSINT, we've done digital forensics. We've got a guy coming in for our chapter meeting this month, and it's offensive tools, because we meet face to face once a month. But then we're also doing a virtual meeting, because we recognize we got a lot of members that can't meet or make it to our face-to-face events. So we're doing a breakfast brief, and that's an hour long on the second Wednesday of every month. We have our next one next Wednesday, and the guy's talking about incident response and digital forensics. So the topics vary, and the reason they vary is because a lot of the time we're looking ahead, but we're looking for people that want to come and speak. You're interested in if it's people in the community or our own members, maybe even folks in other walks, other industries. If they've got an interesting story that you think will be beneficial to your members, then that's who I get whenever and whoever I can get.
Yeah, I did want to clarify. In order to attend these events, you have to be a member, right? James?
Ours, no, you don't have to be an ISC squared member. You just have to have an interest. I've got students. I've now got 2 high school students that are wanting to learn more about cybersecurity. They're showing up with their parents, which is fine, which is good. But we've got, people that are cert holders, aren't cert holders. We want to build that community here in Central Florida, and I think Ken will probably agree with me there. We're building that community, and ISC squared, now that with the CC certification, certified in cybersecurity, there's that opportunity for those high school students, those entry-level people, to get in on the ISC squared family early and kind of, get on that journey. So yeah, no, I just want you to have an interest in cybersecurity and willingness to learn and meet other people.
Yeah, that's a great message. Ken, what about you?
Yeah, no, exact same thing. We take the wretched refuse of cybersecurity. Anybody, like, people are just like, I'm in marketing, but I kind of am interested in cyber. Can I join? And I'm like, absolutely. So we have all walks of life. I got nervous when vendors wanted to join. I was wondering what that was going to be like, but it turned out to be wonderful, actually.
Come on,
No.
And yeah, I don't even think of you as a vendor, Bob, because you're so great. But I really haven't had a negative experience, and we've really taken everybody, and it's just and that's what made it more welcoming. It wasn't some elite thing where you had to pass the test and sign up for in order to be part of. It was anybody who had an interest in it, and everybody is really willing to help everybody. That's one of the biggest things that I'm so glad that we have created now with our community, is that, you join our Discord server, or you come to our meetings and you say, listen, I'm not sure which direction I want to go into. And there's so many people who are willing to talk to you about any area within cybersecurity. And that's what I really like. Okay, you know, you're interested in GRC, here's 5 people, go ahead, go talk to these people, I'll make introductions. And boom, off they go. And you know, and that's really you know, what I love about it.
You know, that's a great message. I don't think people really understood that. And that message you just sent out there is fantastic. I don't think a lot of people understood that, knew what you guys are doing. So, and that's one of the reasons we're having this call, to get that message out. So that's great. Hey, Leanne had a question. Leanne, I don't know if you want to come on and ask the question, or you want me to read it. It's up to you.
Sure, I can.
Well, you're on.
I am. Hi, everybody. I'm local here in Nashville, and I'm still a student right now. I'm interested in opportunities to get to attend the conference coming up. I think it's in the fall this year. However, my resources are kind of tight since I don't have a job yet. So I'm wondering if there's any opportunities for volunteering or a student rate or anything like that, to where I can attend the conference and be involved and maybe help out.
Well, you know, it's great that you say that, Leanne, because that's kind of how I got engaged all those years ago and ended up volunteering. I know we've got Jada. I know we've got Sarah Grover on here from ISC Squared, and hopefully they can drop a link in the chat for us, because I know that there are ways to volunteer at Congress. They've been limited over the years, and there's now a volunteer pool that's available. Yeah, isc2.org/volunteer. If you go to that site, you can put in to, you know, be able to volunteer. If there's, and Ken, you might know, I can't remember if there is a Nashville chapter. I think there is a Nashville chapter. Whether or not, I know Sarah can answer that one. You know, whether
there isn't, to my knowledge.
There isn't. Okay. And you would certainly, yeah, with being there, then certainly, yeah, go through isc2.org/volunteer. That's probably the best way. You can always create an account with ISC2, even if you don't have the cert, but that way you have an account, and you know, look at being able to volunteer that way. Outside of that, I'm not sure. I'd have to think about it. Whether or not, I know with the there are some groups that offer sponsorship or offer opportunities to go through scholarships, but off the top of my head, I'm not really sure. I'd have to look into that. But you certainly bring up a good point, because we thrive on people that volunteer and help us out.
Yeah.
Yep, no, Nashville.
Cool. Sarah Fuller, did you want to come on and ask a question, or would you like me to read it?
Yeah, I can ask the question.
Sure.
So I'm out in Indiana, so a bit far away, but from what I understand, one of your chapters doesn't care what state you're in, so that's good. But one of my questions is, there's a lot of different cybersecurity groups and affiliates and chapters out there. What makes ISC Squared different? What sets it apart from any of the other organizations that I could be giving my time to?
So,
okay, go ahead.
What's that?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
I can only share my experience. When it comes to ISC Squared, you know, getting the certification was a big thing. You know, you've got your ISACAs, your ISSAs, and then ISC Squared. And then I'm sure there's other meetup groups and everything else that's out there as well. When it comes to ISC Squared, yeah, it has a certification that you can attain, whether CC, CISSP, the cloud cert, the security administrator certifications that are out there. With regards to the chapters, it's the chapter leaders that are going to make it. You know, you've got ISC Squared, you can go to the Congress, you know, you go in and you get to meet have an opportunity to be able to meet the leadership that's there as well, but also getting to network, getting to meet the other folks that have the certification. Again, it's that community that comes together that I feel that's been important here in Central Florida, but also when I go to Congress, getting the opportunity of being able to present at Congress, and just meeting and networking. For me, it's just been a really good group overall. I've had similar experiences with ISSA. I've been involved with the ISACA chapters as well, but for me, I always end up just keep coming back to ISC squared because of the leadership, because of the people behind it, and the people that I get to work with. So if you can get in with a good group of people, and you can collaborate with and network with, then it'll go a long way and become valuable for you.
Yeah, I have a similar sentiment to James, and I wasn't part of any organization before this, so what I can tell you is a lot of hearsay about other organizations, and I do know that a lot of people have stayed with other organizations but joined ours as well. So we definitely have a lot of people, and one of the unusual things I'll say about New Jersey is that a lot of the chapters died in the area with COVID. So ISSA is really not doing much. The New York Metro chapter is starting all over again. And so is ISSA in New York and New Jersey. Both of them are really just starting out from scratch. So we really don't have that much competition in the area as far as that. There's ISACA, New Jersey, but there really isn't too many like this. So that's one of the reasons why we're able to grow the size that we are as well. That helped a lot. So
when you're the only game in town, or the only group that's meeting up on a consistent basis, and people know that those are happening, that goes a long way, because then people are committed to knowing that, oh, this is when our next meeting is. Okay, good. And they can start planning for it, or they know they're every month at the same time. That consistency goes a long way, and people start showing up on a regular basis.
yeah, and I just want to say also that COVID actually helped us. So we went from, that's why we grew, really, because we were taking everybody from every state, people from other countries even, and it was a real game changer for us, because people didn't have to travel to get to where they needed to go. And again, New Jersey is just ridiculous during rush hour. You really can't get anywhere. Right. So everybody was very happy to do this, and it worked. We have social events in person, but we have those on not as often, but and it works for us. So very pleased.
Driving around Orlando at rush hour is no bargain either, believe me.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, we have our meetings in 3 different locations around town, up in the north, on the east, on the west side of town. And we still have a consistent following of people that do follow us around. But it's also why we switched to we've added doing virtual meetings, a 1-hour virtual meeting every month, just because we've got, we're now, when I started the chapter, we had, I think, 17 people in the database. We're now upwards over 260, getting to 270 within Central Florida. We took a big hit. Unlike Ken, we took a hit with COVID because we relied so much on the in-person. We did switch to virtual meetings. We went back to face-to-face. We kind of did a hybrid for a couple months. It didn't work. And then March of 22, we went back face-to-face, and we've been strong ever since. And our numbers have come back up. When I say we dipped, we were about just a little over 200 members. We dropped down to about 140 over a period of during COVID. Once we got back face-to-face, now our numbers are going back up, and we're back up to about 270. So it's going to depend on your area. If you're in a big, metropolis area, congested area, yeah, your virtual meetings certainly can work to your advantage. Whereas for Orlando, yes, traffic sucks, but we do have a lot of folks that are able to get around, and they enjoy the face-to-face, that connection, being in person with everybody. So, but Ken does a great job with the breakout rooms when he does that, and then you get that connections, you get the ability to talk with people one-on-one, smaller groups overall, using the technology of Zoom. So that goes a long way as well. We're just doing a 1-hour meeting for a presentation so folks can grab that extra CPE, because we know a lot of the reason folks come to the meetings is they want their CPEs. They want to be able to have that to keep up with their certification. But the byproduct of that they realize is, the connections they make in the community and the face-to-face meetings as well.
Yeah, I want to ask a question, both of you, and it's kind of playing off what David had mentioned, and it's about the culture of the chapter, and culture
Mhm.
really for me um, is ingrained and trickled down through the leadership. Is really my thought is where it begins. So, and I'll start with you, Ken. Really, that leadership is Ken, you, and James, you. But can you kind of give us an idea a little bit? What has contributed throughout your career to that leadership skill that has helped you really in the chapter in your career? So, Ken, I'll start with you on that question.
I really, let's see, I would say that being a consultant really helped me understand how to be engaged with people on a one-on-one basis, and helped me treat people with, be very reactive when they respond, when they ask questions, be very reactive with everything, all their needs, really. Like people would just, email me and I'd get back to them right away and they'd be like, whoa. And it was that kind of a thing where they were just not expecting it. And I still do this all the time. There are people constantly emailing me or texting me about things that are going on or questions that they have. And so I treat everybody like I did with consulting, that kind of personal touch. I'll tell you, I mean, this is a little bit of crazy thing that I did in the beginning during COVID. I would meet our members on a one-on-one basis at 8 o'clock at 7:30 in the morning while I would take my walks. And I'd be like, hi, you interested in being a member? You want to take a walk with me at 7:30? And I would get my walk in and meet a new person. And I did that almost every day. And that's what I did. And it was hysterical, but that was how I got that personal connection. I saw what kind of person then they were, and then I could be able to get them to volunteer for certain things because I knew something about them. A lot of people say, oh, I want to volunteer. And I'm like, okay, well, what can you do? But when you have that half-hour conversation with them, you can tell them what they can do because you understand what their skill sets are. A lot of people don't even know what their skill sets are, as we know. So it was kind of fun that way. So I really, yeah, I mean, for me, it was like I was missing community with with COVID. I didn't have it, so I brought it in. I brought a lot of things in. The reason why I have this green screen in the background is because this is from public speaking workshop that we have once a month, and this will tell you if you're on time with your speech. And so these are the kind of things that I wanted to. I just really wanted to bring all the things that I've done in my career and give back.
Yeah, the dedication is a key element to it. You've got to be, as a leader, as a chapter president, there you have to have that commitment. You got to be able to set the time aside to work on chapter business. Overall, and I know when it came to volunteering, people would always say, well, how much time do I got to commit? And my response is as much as you can give, because we know everybody's time is valuable and we want to be respectful of that, even with the meetings as well. And for me, that dedication in the first year was key. I will admit I wasn't doing walks and calling people. For me, I relied kind of on word of mouth. I'd come out of running the other chapter and I said, look, if I start doing the meetings and we're consistent and we post when we're doing them, people are aware, then they'll start showing up. And the first year was a bit of a struggle with regards to getting people to come out. But for me, it was just a matter of keep pushing forward, relying on my connections, relying on people that I knew that could come and present. Slowly, the vendors started coming in, getting the sponsorship, and then slowly more and more members showed up. And the room that we used to meet in at one of the universities held about 55 people. And the day that 50 people showed up for a chapter meeting, kind of gave me the realization that, okay, we're on our way now. It was one of those nice moments. It's like, okay, what I'm doing is right. I'm on the right track. And as I start to get more of the board members, I would tell them, look, this is what you need to do. If there is something that you need or something blocking you, you let me know and I'm going to knock it out of the way. I'm going to make sure that's not a problem for you. And so for me, I look at when it comes to leadership, the board is supporting the members and I'm supporting the board and the members as well through that. So I always want to make sure that the people that are doing the volunteering, that their time is respected, that they have what they need to be able to do the job, to do the role effectively, and then also take care of the membership as well. One of the things, there's two reasons, but at every one of our meetings, everybody wears a name tag. We used to print all the people that were registered that show up. We'd have all the name tags laid out, and then they would find their name tag and put their name on. One, so people could easily introduce each other to each other. Two, for me, because you get to meet so many people, it's hard to keep track of everybody's name. So it always made things a lot easier. But the membership director said, hey, I found this great little program. I need a Raspberry Pi, this kind of a printer, and I need some time to code up. And basically, when people show up, we'll check them in using Eventbrite, and 4 seconds later, their name tag's going to print, saving us having to print name tags ahead of time. And I'm like, cool, go for it. What do you need? I need X number of dollars. Done. Here you go, out of our chapter budget money that we have. Go do it. That initiative and that drive, it's like, yeah, money's a problem, but it wasn't, I think he did it all for less than $300 buying the printer and the Raspberry Pi. And now when people come to the chapter meetings, we swipe left, get them checked in, and their badge prints up, and it's a nice little name tag. And then we're not wasting as much paper on and ink ahead of time printing up name tags for people that don't show up. So just one of the great examples of how our team kind of works together, and it's like, yeah, let's get this done.
Hey, Ken, did you hear that? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, we're still on the we're still writing name tags,
handwriting name tags,
stuff like that. Yeah,
and you can have people handwrite their name tags. It kind of gets their little personality on the name tag. We always printed them ahead of time, so we didn't have a bottleneck of people trying to write up their name tags or have to worry about markers or whatever else. But yeah,
it's fair. It's just it's another thing to deal with. But you automated the whole thing, so it's not a big deal. And
we just have to worry that we have internet, steady internet work, and that's
an interesting problem. Yeah, right.
Oh yeah.
So for our conference, we're going to have them printed ahead of time. So we are going to have them. Nobody's handwriting for the conference, so we got that taken care of.
Hey, Stavra had a good question. To be a leader leading the chapter, do you have to have ISC squared certification? It's a good question.
For the 4 core roles, president, membership, secretary, and treasurer, yes. And also it'll depend on what the bylaws are for your chapter, but ISC squared, that's kind of one of the requirements put forth, is that they want you to have that certification. And that could be a CC, CISSP, CCSP, SSCP, HCISPP, the healthcare one. You do need to have a certification. Now, the director positions, and again, this is going to depend on the bylaws for the chapter. It's a you don't have to have an ISC squared cert for the other roles. So yeah. So to lead, yes, you got to have an ISC squared cert. But again, it comes down to your bylaws.
Well, tell me a little bit. I know there are a lot of people on here trying to break into cybersecurity, right? Again, I'm always a believer, get involved with ISC squared. And I'll start with Ken on this. Those people that are just starting out or college students, what do you think they can gain from joining your chapter to help on their journey getting into cyber?
So my whole thing is that the more immersed they are listening to people in the industry talk about particular topics, the more comfortable they'll feel about those particular topics as well. So just by osmosis a little bit, just listening to people talk, you start understanding the lingo, the acronyms, and you Google everything that you don't understand. And you can certainly ask questions to anybody as you go through it. But this way, and I've been doing this with a lot of people, so I know it works. And, people who are starting from complete scratch, it's just, and everything is recorded. All our sessions are recorded, so you can play them over again if they miss things, because there will be a lot of things that you miss when you're learning things for the first time. So I highly recommend everybody go to those recordings and just listen to them again, and all the presentations we have copies of and things like that. And so it really is like a classroom kind of atmosphere in a way. We have chat where people can ask questions, like I said, but it's such an open group that people aren't afraid to ask what they think might be stupid questions. And that's what I like, because there are no stupid questions, as we know, but people think that because they're new in the field, they don't want to ask something that may seem very basic. And for those people, they can send me private messages and I'll reply back and things like that if they feel uncomfortable, or ask me later. But I really do everything in my power, and all of our meetings for the most part are not heavily technical. We're not going to do level 3 pen testing. Okay, that, if you want to do that, go somewhere else. That's not really what we're all about. We're really trying to get people to understand different areas, what people do is for careers, and it's more on a higher level than that. If you want more advanced skills, there's training for everybody for that. But that's not our goal. Our goal is really just to learn about different people, different industries, different career paths, and go from there.
James?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I mean, when people starting out, for me, and it's tricky because I know that the propaganda that we hear, or the marketing that we hear is, 3.5 million jobs needed in cybersecurity, and people are like, oh, well, great, then there's a job for me. And one of the things that gets missing in that communication is the fact that, okay, how many of those are entry level? How many of those in the US? What types of jobs? What are those 3.5 million jobs, and how much experience do you need to get those jobs? That's what's, for me, is what I don't see a lot of. So when we have a lot of folks come out and they're in that entry level position looking to try and get a job, one of the key messages is always, getting out there and networking. You never know who you're going to meet that can hopefully, help you land that job, whether that's through internships, whether that's through, an actual entry level job, because we do see as an industry, it's getting a little bit better. It's slowly getting there, where, entry level positions, they want you to have a CISSP, which, how do you get that without the 5 years of experience? But we're starting to see that. I've got college students that are coming to me going, I've got a 4-year degree. Should I go out and get all the certifications as well? And my thinking is, well, look, if you've got a 4-year degree, you've got that theory and everything that's behind it. The certifications will help support that as well. But then they run into the issue of, yeah, I've got the certs and I've got the degree, but I can't get a job. And that is kind of where that frustrating part is that comes in. But it's a matter of, keep pushing forward, keep submitting them, keep going out there, but then also getting involved in the community, getting involved with the whether ISC squared chapter or whatever chapter, so that you can meet other cybersecurity professionals, other folks in the community that can hopefully, learn from someone that may be offering jobs, following them on LinkedIn, because then that leads to other social media connections as well. And you might see someone posting a job. Nowadays, with regards to all the remote work, there's a greater opportunity to be able to do remote work as well. So
Cool.
I just want to say one more thing. James got me going on when I was listening to him. The mentoring also is a huge thing. He talked about networking, which is extremely important, and I think it's mission critical, in my opinion. That's like the #1 thing, is networking. But we also provide mentoring programs also for people who are just starting out as well. And the mentoring is really one of the key elements also, because it gives them the confidence to try things and experiment and not be afraid, and have somebody to bounce off of, and discuss their fears and help them come up with a career plan. And those are the things that are really exciting. And we have a really nice mentor program where we rotate mentors every month. So that way they get the breadth of people as well. So you're not just with one person. And you can always stay with the person if you like them, obviously. But but yeah, networking is key, mentoring, and just being part of that community, whether it's through joining the keep joining those meetings and joining the social events.
Yep.
So we have a few minutes left, about 10 minutes left. So both Ken and James, I know you guys have a lot of activities going on, a lot of events going on. James, I'll start with you. kind of give us a rundown. What's going to be happening for the rest of the year with your chapter, and what's going on with events and things you have doing? I'd like to hear about it.
So one of the things that I got late last year was a new education outreach director. Very excited, and we've already done our first training session event for the year. We're going to probably do 2, maybe 3 more for the rest of the year, do them quarterly. The first one we did was a full day of learning about the CC and how to study and the material that's going to be on an exam. But we still have our monthly face-to-face events. Again, those are the 4th Monday of every month. We do our breakfast brief, a 1-hour session. That's the second Wednesday. Our face-to-face events, one of the things that I always, again, making sure that we're respecting the people that are attending, our members, is it's about 3 hours, but usually the first half hour is when we eat dinner. I know coming in, if you've been at the office and working all day or coming from home, you've had a long day working, and I want to make sure that you get a good meal. It's not just going to be subs or whatever else. We have it catered in. We got a 3-course meal, and Debbie Carr, who our chapter secretary, she does an awesome job going out and finding these local folks and brings them in. So it continues to help the community overall, because people that have got a full belly are happy. And it's always good when they come in and they get fed. But one of the things we started doing after our in-person events that came out of the chat last year with our members was be able to do more networking. Yeah, we do a break, kind of like what Ken does, do a break in between the 2 presentations. But what we're doing now is, to add more networking, is we'll go out to a happy hour after the meeting. So we end about 9 o'clock at night. And pretty well around all of the venues that we go to, there's a bar or restaurant, and we'll go there. And basically what I've been doing so far, pretty well every month this year, is we'll go there and I'll buy the first round of drinks for everybody. You know, whether they're having soda, whether they're having wine, beer, cocktail, whatever, I get the first round. And we've got a good steady group of folks that are coming out, 20 out of the 60 to 70 folks that are in the meeting, we got about 20 to 30 that come to the little networking thing afterward. And some connections have been really forming for a lot of folks. They've been saying they appreciate that happening every month. And so that's been good. Overall, we are going to do our annual meeting in November again this year. And the annual meeting I make different from our regular chapter meetings. It is for chapter members only. So you have to be a part of the chapter to attend that meeting. And the last couple of years, and we're going back again this year, we go to a mystery dinner theater called Sluice. And this year we're actually going to do the mystery dinner theater that goes along with it. Usually in the past we just use the space, but we're going to do that fun annual meeting again this year. We usually give out fun swag for the chapter. Last year, what everybody got, or one of the key things that we gave everybody, was kind of an add-on or an improvement from the original one. But we did new challenge coins for our 10-year anniversary last year, is what we gave everybody. And anybody that joins the chapter gets a challenge coin because it has Connect, Educate, Inspire, Secure on the back of it, and kind of get our members to live that motto. And they get a cool thing when they join up, and they all get a kick out of it. So basically for us, it's moving forward, trying to keep those face-to-face events going on, and then we ended the end of the year with a networking event. We don't do a full chapter meeting in December, just then have that face-to-face. So yeah, and then October is when we start planning for next year. So I usually take the board members out for dinner, and then we start talking what the game plan is for the following year. So it's that cycle of going through. It's like having the meetings, and then, okay, let's plan for next year.
Fantastic.
That's
I'm
me.
going to ask both James and Ken when we're done. Can you go ahead and post the website for your chapters in the chat?
Sure.
That'd be great for people to have that, and they can access it. Ken, what about you? What do you have going on? I know there's a lot going on for the rest of the year.
Yeah, so I'll put in the chat. This is our newsletter. This is what we publish every month, and it is crazy. It takes us a while to get this out, and it's long, but we got a lot going on, and it's constant. And this isn't even all of it. So we have new things that we just announced 2 days ago. Now we're partnered with InfraGard, New Jersey. So they're inviting us to all their meetings now because they want more attendance. So we get that. I didn't want to put it in the newsletter because it's only for members only. So I wanted to not put the links to anything like that. So there's some hidden things that are not in the newsletter that we do on purpose because of that. And we're going to be doing working with senior centers. We did one this year already. We're going to be doing some more, educating them on the latest scams with elder fraud. So that's pretty exciting. We're working with InfraGuard on that. We have our picnics. We have 2 picnics coming up. Those are a leftover from COVID that became a huge hit, and families can attend it also. So we get like 80 to 100 people attend these things now, and it's all free if you're a member, and we also use it as a recruiting tool as well. And it was wonderful. The first year we tried to barbecue, but we realized that we were spending all the time barbecuing and not having fun. So we stopped that. Now we just have sandwiches and stuff like that. But people are bringing in dishes now. We had Polish dishes, Caribbean dishes, and you know, so it's really. And somebody brought a guitar with an amp and was playing guitar the whole time at the conference, at the picnic. This year we're going to have karaoke. So it's just every year it's something new and fun, and so we do that twice a year. We have our big conference coming up in June. We're estimating we have over 200 people come in person. We're also having it virtual as well. And we have over 40 speakers, with James being one of them. And it is really exciting. And you know, we got all these vendors that came to me. I didn't even have to look for vendors for this year. They all came to me and wanting to be vendors. So it's really wonderful to see. And I don't know, I planned for the year kind of, sort of, but it kind of just keeps evolving as the year progresses, with more and more things that people come to me with. Hey, Ken, I want to try this. And I'm like, sure, let's do it. And so we, you know, it really keeps morphing what we're doing. So it's wild. And the International Security Conference we just started last year, which was crazy. I got together with someone from Israel, and we were talking about having a joint session. And the next thing I know, we had 40 speakers from around the world and 200 people attend virtually.
Awesome.
It was, and we're going to do it again this year. So really excited about that.
Hey, Ken, real quick, what are some of the countries that are attending? Because I mean, that's fascinating. It's fantastic to see that, by the way.
Oh, so the international one,
Yeah.
I started with Israel, Poland, Austria, Nigeria, Luxembourg, and then they were able to get people from all around the world to speak. We had it just to be a chapter conference. So we wanted people just from chapters to attend. And people from India, Sri Lanka,
Wow.
Japan. It was ridiculous. And with the time zone thing. And I don't know how we did it, but it worked. We were able to do it. And but that was 6 months of planning. I mean, that was
Wow,
really
that's
a
awesome.
lot of planning.
You're doing that again this year, though.
We certainly are. Yeah. Right after this conference is over in June, I'm going to go start planning the next conference.
It is great to hear perspectives from other countries. And
Yes.
it's a fantastic learning experience. So I applaud you for doing that.
Thank you.
Right. So Ken, you didn't put in the website for your.
Oh,
chapter.
sorry. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Hold on.
Okay, speaking. So we're
too
just
busy.
about out of time. I want to ask the audience, are there any other questions anyone wants to ask? I know James has to book at noon, Ken, but are there any other questions? Real quick before we wrap up. Anyone, raise your hand, come up, open your mic. Feel free.
Oh, and if you want to email me, I mean, like, you know, reach me on LinkedIn. That's probably the best thing to do.
Yeah, if you want to put your LinkedIn information there too, that'd be great. Saj, I see you unmuted. Do you have a question?
Yes, I have a quick question. Thank you for letting me in first, Bob. Thank you for sending that link. And thank you, everybody. Actually, what's the common goal of all these chapters? Because you already said all the chapters have their own bylaws and all the things. I attend that meeting from your DFW chapter last week. That was after a long time they are trying to put together everything.
Well, we have somebody from the DFW chapter right here, Stephen.
I am from the DFW chapter. So is
Yeah.
Scott and so is David.
Yeah, okay, so. You want to take this one, James?
I got to drop. I got another, I
Okay.
got a presentation I got to start.
Okay,
This has been amazing. Thank you very much, Bob, for putting this together. I leave you guys. Ken, you've done an incredible job with New Jersey. Just want to say it publicly. Keep up the awesome work, man. I'm now starting to follow you on what you're doing. So there you go.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
I will,
I
James,
I will
learned from
see
the
you all.
best. All
Thanks,
right.
James. I enjoyed
Take
it a
care.
lot. Thank you.
See you, folks. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
All right. Sorry, Seth. Could you just ask it one more time, your question, if you don't mind?
What's our common goal for all these chapters?
Oh, okay, yeah. So your common goal is really the, I guess the 4 pillars, which I should have memorized, but I don't. It's secure, educate. I don't remember. I mean, Jada and Sarah, you could probably chime in here, or Sarah. Inspire, educate, connect, and secure. Yeah, thank you, Sarah. So that's the common goal. How you do it, it's up to you. You know, and you can be creative. So there's a million ways to do this.
Of course. Thank you.
No problem.
And with that, we're a little bit over time, so I want to be respectful of Ken's time, everyone's time. I appreciate it. And I'm glad everybody showed up. Ken, I can't thank you enough for just showing up here, but what you're doing for the chapter and what you're doing for the community. So I applaud you and your team at the chapter. And like I said, after this, we will pick one individual for free membership in New Jersey and one individual for free membership in the Central Florida chapter, and we'll notify you by the email you used to register. And if you didn't do that, connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll make sure you get in the drawing to make sure. And I'm going to put my LinkedIn there so you can connect with me. Hold on one second. Everyone in the meeting, we'll do it again. I hit the wrong button. There we go. Other than that, I think we're done. Anything else? So I appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great day, and I hope it was worthwhile. I know it was for me. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.